One cloudy evening, Bill and Ben were delivering a load of china clay to random docks. They were making good time. The trucks didn't give them trouble, and the signal showed clear. The twins arrived at the docks right on time. Salty pulled over to greet them. "Ahoy there, me hearties!" he tooted. "Right on time, but you two better drop anchors for the night."
Why?
Chorused the twins.
"A thunderstorm is expecting in a few minutes on the forecaster."
The dock manager boomed through his megaphone.
"So you two will rest here tonight and return to the pits tomorrow."
Yes, sir.
Sighed the twins. "Don't fret, mateys," Salty sympathized. "I've got plenty of room in the sheds. Perhaps you could stay with me for the night." Bill and Ben grinned. They liked Salty because he would always tell them many different tales about the sea. The three engines sat in the shed, listening to the wind blowing and the rain pouring.
I'm telling you, Bill.
Ben started.
I'm glad we're here and not at the clay pits. You know that the clay walls can be unstable when wet. Yeah.
Agreed Bill before grinning.
And I'm glad we're not stuck in the drain like you were once.
Ben huffed. He did not like to be reminded of the time he got stuck in the drain and had to be rescued by Thomas. "You know," Salty said before the twins could argue, "this storm reminds me of one from years back."
What happened in that?
Asked Bill. "It'd be around that time when Harvey and myself were new to the railway that year," answered Salty with a grin. "And there'd be a heroic blue tank engine that helped everyone through the obstacles."
Please, can you tell us about it?
Ben pleaded. "Well," Salty began, "it all started on a stormy day like this." And this was a tale Salty told the twins of how Thomas helped save the day. Thomas was on his way back home to Timot's sheds when the sky began to darken. "We're in for a storm," said his driver, and he was right. The rain began to pour, pelting Thomas's boiler. Then, the storm hit full force. The wind blew hard and the rain sloshed Thomas's firebox, giving him little steam. "We'll have to find a siding to wait out the storm for the night," said the fireman. Thomas wasn't happy. "Bother," he huffed. "I was looking forward to getting out of the rain." They soon found a siding next to the signal box. The crew parked Thomas and went into the box for help. The storm blew all night, making Thomas wet and very uncomfortable. He soon grew tired and went unhappily to sleep, hoping that the storm will pass. By morning, he was rudely awakened by the sound of a horn. It was Elizabeth, the vintage steam lorry, who had brought some coal for him. "Broken down again?" she sniffed. "You engines just never seem to learn." "It was no fault of my own," retorted Thomas. "My firebox was soaked thanks to the rain." "Maybe if you stay in your shed, you wouldn't have this issue," Elizabeth scolded. "And by the way, the Fat Controller is waiting for you at Knapford. I have more important things to do and not much time to help you engines." Thomas was annoyed. Once he had steam up, he fumed away without saying a thank you to Elizabeth. "What is with that lorry?" he huffed to himself. "How can she be helpful by bad-mouthing our mishaps?" "Don't let it get to you," said his driver. "For one thing, she is right. The Fat Controller is expecting us at Knapford." Reluctantly, Thomas agreed. He soon arrived at Knapford Station. "Ah, Thomas, here you are at last. What can I do for you, sir?" "The cargo from Mr. Jolly's chocolate factory is lost," the Fat Controller explained. "Those ingredients are the very ones the workers need to make the chocolate. I would like you to go to the chocolate factory at once and find out what help is needed." "I will, sir." As he puffed down to the chocolate factory, Thomas began to figure out just how he could help the workers when... "What's that?" his driver called out. Up ahead was poor Edward, who was derailed on a set of points and blocking Thomas's way. "Edward!" Thomas gasped in shock. "What happened?" "I was just on my way to deliver a new hook for Harvey, and the next thing I knew, it hit the points that were set against me and got derailed," Edward explained. "Are you alright?" "I think so, but now I need Harvey to come help me. Could you bring him his new hook so that he can derail me?" Thomas knew he was supposed to go to the chocolate factory, but he also knew he had to help a friend in need, so he obliged. Once his driver put the hook in his cab, he steamed away to find Harvey. He found him waiting in the yard.
Thanks for the hook, Thomas,
said Harvey.
But where's Edward?
Thomas explained what happened.
Not to worry, Thomas,
Harvey smiled.
Once I have my new hook chained up, I'll have him back on the rails in no time.
Feeling pleased, Thomas led Harvey to Edward's derailment. In no time at all, Edward was back on the rails.
Thank you, Thomas, Edward said gratefully. Now I can get back to work. And you can get through to the chocolate factory,
added Harvey.
Good luck!
The factory manager was surprised to see Thomas arrive. He appeared to be not the train he had been waiting for.
What are you doing here, Thomas?
He asked. I've come to help you with the lost cargo, Thomas replied.
But we've been waiting for Percy to arrive with our first shipment of ingredients. He's terribly late,
said the factory manager. I'll go look for him if you want me to, said Thomas kindly. Most pleasant of you to offer, the factory manager thanked, and Thomas steamed away. He found Percy at Kiloban. There you are, Percy, he whistled. The workers need you to deliver their ingredients and warrior trucks. They decouple from me on the hill and roll into a mine shaft, shivered Percy. And now? Now? I can't go in there. Thomas was surprised. Why not? It's too dark in there and might be too scary. I'm sure there isn't anything scary in the mine, Percy, sympathized Thomas. I'll go with you to get your trucks, and I'll help you deliver them. I'll be right behind you then, Percy said reluctantly. They arrived at the mouth of the mine tunnel. We must be brave, Percy, said Thomas. The factory workers are counting on us. Percy knew his friend was right, and they puffed inside. The mine was dark and eerie, but the engines weren't afraid. Can you see anything, Thomas? Called Percy. I can! Thomas called back. There, in front of the engines, were Percy's trucks. They were soon coupled up and pulled the trucks out of the shaft. Thank you, Thomas, said Percy as they made their way to the chocolate factory. The factory manager too thanked Thomas and Percy, but he had more bad news. Now, Thomas, he said, we're expecting Elizabeth to bring in our second and last shipment, but she hasn't arrived. Do you think you can find her? Of course I can, sir, Thomas whistled, and he hurried off to find Elizabeth. The line before the other to the chocolate factory passes a road, and there was Elizabeth, sitting on the far side of the road. What happened to you? Thomas asked.
I have a few loose bolts on my wheels,
Elizabeth sighed.
I should have had them checked before I could make some deliveries.
Thomas knew he couldn't tease Elizabeth, for he knew he had to help her in return. His driver and fireman helped Elizabeth's driver tighten the bolts on her wheels. As soon as they were done, Elizabeth felt better.
Oh, thank you, Thomas,
the steam lorry said.
And I'm sorry for what I said to you this morning.
It's all right, tooted Thomas, but now you have to make your delivery.
Consider it done.
Soon the entire order was delivered and the chocolate was soon ready. Can you help us one more time, Thomas? The factory manager inquired. This shipment must now be taken to the docks before the ship leaves. Thomas agreed. And once he was loaded, he steamed off right away. Thomas had to hurry in order to get straight to the docks. Soon be there, he puffed to himself. reached Brendam Coast and began to increase his speed when... "Whoa there, Thomas!" called his driver and applied the brakes. Thomas slowed to a stop. Jack and Alfie were clearing up the line with sand and rocks.
Sorry, Thomas,
Said Jack,
the storm had caused a landslide here.
We'll have it cleared in no time.
added Alfie.
We won't be long.
Thomas waited as Jack and Alfie worked quickly. The moment they were done, Thomas was ready to go. "Thanks a lot, you two," he said to them. "But now I have to hurry. I really can't be late." But the troublesome trucks had other ideas.
Hold Thomas back. He's in our way, so let's not do a thing he says.
This made Thomas cross. He was just about to tell the trucks just what he thought when he heard a horn. Salty raced up to him. "Thomas, what's keeping you?" he cried urgently. "You must hurry. The ship's about to hoist anchor and set sail." "I'm trying to, Salty," replied Thomas. But not only there was an avalanche on the line, but the troublesome trucks are being difficult. Then Salty had an idea. "I'll help you, Thomas," he suggested. "I have a way of making them behave." Salty turned his attention to the trucks. "Here, you lot. Why not sing along with me?"
We like to sing, but we won't sing just anything.
Salty bumped up to Thomas and began to sing. "Yo ho ho, in the bucket of ponds, the tiller spins and the captain yawns."
Yo ho ho, in the bucket of ponds, the tiller spins and the captain yawns.
Thomas loved it. Soon Salty and the truck sang all the way to the docks. They arrived just in time. "Thanks, Salty," Thomas said. "I don't know how you did it, but we made it on time." The chocolate crates were soon loaded onto the ship, and with a loud blast of its horn, it sailed gracefully away out to sea. The Fat Controller arrived with Edward, Percy, and Harvey. "Well done, Thomas," he praised. "Edward, Percy, and Harvey told me everything, and I'm proud of you. You have saved the day. You're a really useful engine." "Thank you, sir," Thomas beamed happily. He was glad to have helped everyone in need. "And that, me lads," Salty said, concluding his tale, "was how Thomas was the helpful hero of the day." Bill and Ben stared in awe.
What a kind engine, eh, Ben?
Said Bill.
Quite right.
Agreed Ben.
Going through thick and then helping his friends right then and there.
"Aye, aye, me hearties," grinned Salty. "But now it's time we get some shut-eye." The twins agreed, and soon the three engines fell fast asleep, never forgetting the day of Thomas's helpful deeds.